Scorpio, this is your forecast for June 2021. And listen, I have some good news to start off with, and that is all about Jupiter. Now, Jupiter takes normally a year to go through a sign, but it started off in Aquarius top of the year in January, and already it has super speeded through the sign of Aquarius and now entering into Pisces. And it will remain here for the next couple of months until it retrogrades early autumn. Will go back into Aquarius. So where has it been operating? It has been operating in your fourth house for home, family relationships, the foundation of your life, getting all the projects together. Some of you have been moving, some of you still wanting to move and so forth. You might have been dealing extra with family and family situations. So right now what we're seeing is that it's moving into the fifth house. And the fifth house is all about playtime. Is like what I like to call a fifth house. It is joy. It's expanding your self-expression, doing the things you do when you have off time in your leisure. And so, yes, Jupiter is going to give you a sense and a feel for the next couple of months how it's going to feel in 2022 when it comes back into this area, and you will have it for a long time, nearly up to a year in 2022. Now, since you are Scorpio and Jupiter is going into Pisces, this is a beautiful trine to your sign, right? So you, Cancerians and Pisceans, are going to feel the best and get the best benefit of Jupiter now. So it's time to look forward, feel that things are great, right? Now that you've had all your home projects taken care of and doing what you needed to do there, now is time to enjoy. So we have that, but then we also have in your eighth house, I see how you're going to be looking at mutual funds is like I'd like to put it. Okay, money that you have with your spouse, your partner, your savings, investments, and so forth. Anything eighth house related is money, but not necessarily your week to week, month to month income. Okay, that's more your second house area. Here is more your savings, right? So spend a little time to see, is there anything you need to adjust on your applications as far as for insurances and so forth. Maybe some of you are looking this month more so into cryptocurrencies. Of course, investments are really, really good. You got the sun, you got the new moon, you got Mercury here, and you got Venus. Now, let's talk about that Mercury, because most of you are probably aware Mercury being retrograde here in June, right? And it will be until June 23rd. So it might not be the best time to go and invest, okay? Because things can turn really quickly. With the retrograde, it's time to explore, it's time to research, it's time to get your bearings and so forth. So you can do that and then be ready after the 23rd. I'd give it to beginning of July, because then Mercury will be getting out of its shadow, right? So yes, and cryptocurrencies are really big now these days, and I think a lot of you are climbing on board. It is exciting, but under a retrograde, be cautious. It's time to just hold, wait, see, and like I said, investigate a little bit. Now, if you're waiting, say, for a payout, whether it is something from your mortgage company or other investments, then you could expect to see that something is going to be a little delayed. We oftentimes experience that under a retrograde. It's not a time to sign any contracts, so I would stay away from getting a mortgage or refinance at this time. Wait for July onwards. You'll do so much better in that. If you have to, well, the show must go on, right? Just read that fine print, okay, so that you know what you're signing up for. Now, on the 3rd of June, Venus will leave this area and moving to your ninth house. The ninth house is all about traveling, maybe even long distance. The third house is short little trips, weekend getaways and whatnot. The ninth house is more long distance, or the longing to go somewhere long distance, maybe even out of the country, right? And of course, with COVID, so many of you and us, we've been, having to stay put, not able to. Maybe some of those things will be lifting now as we get into June, so you might be able to see that it can be possible, right, to travel vaccinated or not, masks or not, right? But we should see, at least for you, that we can see some changes here. Now, the ninth house also represents studying. It's the philosophy, the way you think, in higher terms, where you're at, where you're heading, what's important to you, and so forth. So I can see some of you wanting to dive in, maybe taking a class, or it's just self-study. And, with the internet, all that is very, very possible. And not to forget either, it's the house of publishing. So for those of you looking to get something published, maybe you've been writing, or maybe you got music, whatever the deal is, this is a time that you could find somebody that can actually help you move forward on that note. That being said too, Mars has been working here. So I think a lot of you have already been laying down the path for where Venus is going to come in and take over Mars's good job, right? So maybe Venus can come in and harvest some of that. But Mars is going to move into your career house on the 12th, and it will be there for the rest of the month, of course. So I can see how many Scorpions right now will be achieving certain goals where Mars is really going to help you to stay focused on course and have you in its back so that you can get the oomph and the drive to go accomplish. It's also, Scorpio, a very public place for your Mars to be, so you might feel that you're going to be a little bit more public this month after the 12th, and that is good. For whatever you've been working on, this is the time for you to reap, right? What you've been working on the last 2 years, because it takes Mars 2 years to get back into the same area, right? So maybe some of the things that you started 2 years ago might be able now to radiate and shine. So that is all good. Saturn is retrograde, Scorpio, in your 4th house for family, foundation, and whatnot. So there might be family issues that you're looking at right now that needs to be worked through. Saturn also represents the father energy, or parents, but especially the father, right? But it could also be something with your physical home that might need to be structured, restructured, fixed, or whatnot. So this is a time to work through that. And it could even be karmic stuff, which Saturn does rule karma. The new moon is on the 19th. No, I'm sorry, on the 10th. 19 degrees in Gemini. Okay, so that will be your 8th house. That's where the Sun, Mercury, and Venus is as we start off the month. So, the new moon is when we place our intentions. So even though Mercury is retrograde, asking you to step back and hold a little bit before you act on anything new, what you still can do in spite of that retrograde is to envision. That's what the new moon is all about, is to put down your intentions. Where do you see yourself in a month from now? Where do you see yourself, a year from now? So I would say let that channel open up, and try to get into what it is that you want on the highest levels of what it is you want to achieve. The new moon can help you here. So remember that on June 10th. We have the full moon, which is going to be 3 degrees in Capricorn. So for you, that will be in your 3rd house, Scorpio, which has to do with siblings, neighbors, anybody in your close community. It also rules communication. What and how we communicate, right? How we reach out. Maybe you're going to have a presentation of sorts. Maybe you're going to have an interview or whatnot. This will be June 24th. So it is basically right there at midsummer. So, it's nice to have like a midsummer ceremony there, 23rd coming into 24th, right? That full moon will amplify anything that has to do with the Saturnian issues that you have in your 4th house. So that is pretty much the short and the skinny of what we have for June, Scorpio, and I will see you next month. So have a wonderful time. Wishing you the best and stay safe.